Here we go, AKAPADers. Today for the 31 Days of Dread. Welcome back. We're talking about what many people to believe to be the best horror movie of not just 2023, but also 2024. This movie is still spoken of. I haven't heard a bad thing about this movie at all. But there is an element that took me out. And I've seen this movie about 3 times. I do enjoy this movie. I want to bring it to your attention. And I want to tell you a little personal anecdote of myself when it comes to late night television, because I feel like it applies. There's a lot to admire about this movie. So let's get to it. It's October, and it's time for the 31 Days of Dread. This is where you get one horror movie a day for the entire month of October. That's how much we love horror. That's how much we love Halloween on the Film Buff Podcast. And here's the crazy thing. This is the longest running horror event in all of podcasting. So get ready. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to scare our socks off. And yes, we're going to be grabbing some candy. Maybe some cereal. Let's go. The premise of this movie, it's so original. We open up with this narration. It's almost like a news story where everything we need to know is given to us in a few minutes. Jack Delroy, that's our protagonist. This guy is... It's hinted that he made a deal with the devil. He made a deal with the devil to get ratings, and some of it worked out, some of it didn't. But he's right now trying to get his ratings back, and he's doing a show on Halloween night, and he has characters, like a lot of characters you used to see on late night television, like fortune tellers, all this stuff. And when you're young and you see characters like this on TV and you see adults interacting with them, you believe it. It's maybe like your first entry in being told that ghosts were real and all these things, and you take it as truth. So when I was younger, I had this like bunk bed. It was from IKEA, but the top part was a bunk, and then there was closet doors, and then the bottom was like a work desk. But I had these IKEA bookshelves too that ran to the top of the bunk bed. So I had like a little black and white TV. And I used to stay up and watch David Letterman. And then as I got older, through middle school and high school, I would watch David Letterman and then switch over to E and watch Howard Stern. So, yeah, I was very engaged. And what you might want to say is the last great era of talk TV, of just talk shows in general on TV. I remember seeing Johnny Carson. I remember Jay Leno being a guest on Johnny Carson. I remember Jay Leno taking over the show. I remember the rise of Conan O'Brien. I don't watch a lot of late night now. But this show, right, being in the late 70s, it really brings you back to this time. The show feels like a period piece. It feels set in an era. It feels like it could be true. If you didn't know the faces of some of the actors, and you maybe like cut some scenes out of this movie, it could almost be a found footage. The broadcast part could almost be mistaken as something real. And this is a great line that this movie plays with. Colin Carninas, this is our writer-director. Cameron Carninas. I guess it's a brother duo. Sorry, Colin and Cameron Carninas. This is roughly their third movie. This is really what you can say is a coming out party for the two of them. I would say right now, in the middle of American, like they're right in this middle center of American horror. They are to be paid attention to. Their careers are to be followed. These guys can weave a narrative. They can give you lore. They can give you a lot of explanation. For me, A lot of this movie falls apart when our possessed girl, when she goes off the rails. Now, this movie ends, in my view, it ends nutty. It ends over the top. So many people have said this movie has a great ending. People like this movie all the way through. I like what this movie teases. It teases a lot with this host, Jack, with his potential deal with the devil. And we see how the devil took things away from him, including his wife, through his life, gave him this monumental success, and is slowly like pulling at his soul. This movie does this very well. Now, there's a lot of movies where our protagonist sells his soul to the devil, and we see the devil come and collect. I believe the devil collects the soul in pieces. I guess a lot like what Voldemort, Harry Potter, like how Voldemort broke his soul into multiple pieces and scattered them. But this movie's there. I love the show. The fictional show is called Night Owls. I love all the promos. I like all the animations. It really made you feel like the show existed at one point. Late Night with the Devil deserves your attention, even with some mild criticism from myself. This movie was made for roughly $15 million. It feels like a $45 million movie. This movie went viral too, and we've spoken about that a lot this year on 31 Days of Dread. This movie's a viral movie, and for whatever reason, it's only made $15 million. This movie has had a lot of good reviews on YouTube. I've saw a lot of traction of it on Facebook. But for some reason, it only makes $15 million, which is mind-blowing to me. I would have guessed that this movie grossed around $60 to $70 million. I thought this movie was approaching $100 million. So let's give this movie some attention, aka Padders. Let's get some popcorn. This is a great movie to watch late at night with the lights down. It's a great movie. AKA Padders, thank you for joining me for another episode of the 31 Days of Dread. We have been dedicated to horror for a long time on this feed, on this podcast. If you guys want to know more about everything we do here, go to akapad.com. From there, you can navigate to the 31 Days of Dread. We have a dedicated landing page that goes through all the years of the 31 Days of Dread, and we also have a directory that jumps you to any movie that we've done. So you can just look up the movie by name, you can go to the directory, it's all alphabetical, and you can just explore. And that's the intent, and that's why we're so into the 31 Days of Dread, because no one's done this. No one has put this much time, this much thought and effort into American horror and international horror, and we love it. Horror is the future of American cinema. Horror right now is holding up American cinema, and I'm so thankful for it. So I'm hoping that you can extend yourself, explore, and continue the conversation. akapad.com. Thanks, guys.